Morning. I'm Denise Dryden, and I'm out on Whidbey Island. I've been with a friend, and we've been camping and exploring Deception Pass and walking on the beach and collecting rocks. And you can see we're staying in this lovely artisan home with a view of Useless Bay. So it's just amazing. We've got geese flying over, and I've been buzzed 1,000 times already by hummingbirds. So we're going to have all sorts of noises from nature going on. Oh, look, there's going to be a whole flock of geese that flies by while I'm doing this. So today I want to talk, there you go, you can see them up in the top. They are noisy. Today I want to talk about a new kind of courage. So I live up in the northern parts of the country, of the United States, and we're in the middle of August, sort of in those last few weeks of summer. You know, the lingering outside. We had a fire last night down there, a fire pit down there. Resting up before the beginning of the school year, before kids depart for college, before we enter into that sort of change into fall where things start getting, start pulling in, and we watch life sort of slow down, and then we get ready, especially in the north, for snow. So this is an interesting time. We are, 5 days from the shift from Leo, which is a zodiac sign, into Virgo, because it starts on the 23rd of August. Now I have a plane going over. This is hilarious. It was so quiet when I picked this spot. So Virgo is an earth sign. Virgo is it's a little bit more peaceful, it's grounded, it's stable, and it's sort of like, finally. Because, Leo's about fire and hot and getting ready and sort of agitation and action and pushing us into things. And it seems like it's been asking us, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? And so that plus the Lion's Gate. And the reason I picked this topic was last week was the 80th anniversary of the debut of The Wizard of Oz with the Cowardly Lion. So I thought that was kind of cool that all of this sort of transcended on that lion, and lion is the essence of courage. So courage, when we define it, is choice or willingness to confront agony or pain or danger or uncertainty or intimidation. It's like, what do I have to do to go through towards that? It's the ability to do something that frightens you, to step across your fear. It requires strength. So what do we need courage for right now? Like, why are we talking about courage? And what kinds of environments might require courage from us at this time? And so on a micro level, we have a lot of choices that are always, there's bees too. We have a lot of choices that are sort of coming up and tapping us on the shoulder. We have relationships that may need some care and attention. We have the work that we do and whether that satiates us. We have ways that we support our children and, with school coming in, the ways that they learn and how they're socialized. We may have a young adult that's just out of school looking at independence or going off to college or in the years of creating, a young adult independent living. What does it take to start shifting them into their own responsibilities? And this list could go on and on. So conjure up, pull up, what is it that you might need to address that is asking you for courage at this time? So courage comes up when we have a feeling of agitation, when there's fear, when there's discomfort, when there's things that are sort of going tap, 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 tap on your shoulder. And they're trying to get your attention because they want you to do something. They need you to do something different than what you're doing. So we have to sort of choose to step out of our comfort zone and step into something, in some action that is unknown, that we don't know what it's going to look like on the other end. And what we do know is it's going to be different than what it is now because it's not, we can't stay in that same comfortable zone. So courage is also going to come up when we have to choose ourselves over another. We have to choose ourselves first, whether it's over something or another person. And so we live in a culture that adheres to these societal norms that was based on a lot of models that were embedded in us during that post-World War II era through media campaigns and programs. So the older you are, the more it's kind of like, whoa, you're supposed to love thy neighbor, like take care of other people first, right? And the better you take care of other people, especially as a female, the greater your kudos in the community is, right? So if you're older, you have these societal norms and they kind of get in the way. And the younger you are, they may have less impact. Yet they reside in some of these surprisingly, archaic areas, like maybe your work environment, or maybe, which still does top-down management. Maybe it's in the institutions of learning where you're like, wow, there's so many new ways to teach this material, and I'm in a school where they don't get this. Where there's ways that different kinds of relationships can be expanded and accepted. So a lot of this just depends on, I see the younger generations are just sort of breaking down some of these old societal norms over and over, and they show such courage to be able to do that. So now when we go to courage, we're talking about a new kind of courage. We're talking about the courage of being sort of self-aware, to be able to dig into old patterns and wounds and issues and set them free. This is what courage is. It's being able to advocate for what you see, what you feel, what you experience. It's being able to ask for more and decide what kind of changes and address the really tough stuff. Brene Brown does a wonderful job talking about how to be vulnerable and how to ask for what you want and how to get into really difficult conversations where you have to choose courage over comfort, right over what's fun, and right over what exists. And so Brene keeps saying, read these books and let's talk about this. And she talks about this concept called a rumble, which is and I'm going to read the notes here right on it. So a rumble is a discussion, a conversation, or a meeting defined by a commitment to lean into vulnerability, to stay curious and generous, and to stick to the problem or issue. Stick to it. Don't chicken out and go, okay, I talked about it enough and I'm out. And to be fearless in owning your own parts. Hey, this is what I'm experiencing, or yeah, maybe I'm bringing this into it, and allow change to happen, right? And it takes courage to do this. It takes courage to rumble. And we have a lot to rumble about right now. So I'm going to list out some things that might come up for you as far as what we can rumble about. So like, what if your work environment isn't understanding who you are and what you may need in order to perform better or become more engaged or even stay? What if you're sort of in a dead end, locked in spot and it's not working for you? How would you address this? How would you address your own personal needs? What if your relationship is falling into patterns that no longer work for you or for both of you? And there's this fear about bringing it up because, man, if I really name it, we have to make a choice. We have to decide what's next. And what if it means breaking this apart? Or what if it means making really deep changes? What if you know that your child struggles in school? Like, you really know. You're watching them becoming more hesitant and reticent, and they don't want to talk about school, and they're dragging their feet. And this new school year is bringing up things like there was bullying in school last year. Or your child has learning differences and teachers and schools don't always, or the classroom doesn't always understand that. Or what if there's high levels of sensitivity? So it could be about work, could be about your relationship, it could be about your child, could be about your body. What if you know your body's off and you've been sort of noticing that it's getting stiffer, it's sore, there's some aches in places that there shouldn't be aches, there's some actual pain. There's anxiety, there might be digestion issues, breathing, and you're sort of afraid to go find out. You're afraid to go rumble with it, what's going on and what do I need to do about this? And so we stay in our comfort zone and we just ignore it. I've been working with like 3 different clients now of what do you do when you have to have really difficult conversations with aging parents? And that's sort of where I'm at in this, in my age group with children below and parents above. And you have to, really be able to talk about what is it that you feel, what is it that you see, and what is it, what is it going to take for them to let you in so that you can have a conversation with them. So I could go on and on because there's all sorts of examples here about what we think of when things are right in front of us, and they're hanging on our heads and they're tapping us on the shoulder, and we know that they're big and we know that we have something to do with them, and our courage, we haven't been able to summon that courage. So I want to also point out that all of these things that we're experiencing on a microcosm are happening on a macro, much bigger around us, right? It doesn't matter what we want to talk about. We could look at our political leadership and the future growth in what's working and what's not working within the confines of our leadership. We could look at how information is now coming to the surface with the Epstein stuff, like how really big, how deep is this, and how many people are impacted. We have environmental concerns, we have societal concerns. You know, all of these on a much larger level are reflected of what we are doing here. So courage starts with us first, within. And we have choices to make. So when we talk about courage, it takes, and what it takes to step in and to get ready to make these choices, we have to make choices like, number one, to stop ignoring, placating, or denying. We have to make choice number two, which is to take action and to talk about some of the hard stuff, to not be afraid of the rumble. Number three, choices to remove yourself from a toxic environment that no longer works for you. Number four, choices to stop doing what is easy, fun, normal, and start redirecting yourself, your children, your life into a different direction. I worked a lot over the summer with families with screens, and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's just so much easier this summer to let them have their screens. I'll deal with it this fall. So there are tools. Always there are tools in these presentations that are necessary for courage to spread across every part of your life. And one of the best tools that I have that I've come up that I use regularly, number one, is to listen. Really that deep listening, to be able to hear on multitude of levels and to be able to put pieces together of what is it that I'm really feeling, experiencing, hearing, and asking questions about that. Number two was from a week or two ago, which is deep self-care. You know, creating time and space to gather your thoughts, to be able to find out what is it that I'm really experiencing. Number three, to get used to fear. To get used to fear. Yesterday, I walked over with my really dear friend. We walked over Deception Pass, which is this long bridge that goes over this really deep bay, and the water's just churning through. And if you're afraid of heights, there were so many people holding on to the railing. And it's sort of like, what does it take to walk across, breathe, and walk back, and go, I did that and it worked. Walk across again and come back. So get used to fear. Get used to the fact that it's a process, and discover what it's like to play with it or challenge it, and step across and sort of expand. Step and expand. Whatever you're afraid of, step in a little bit, come back and go, I did that. Step some more, I did that. And congratulate yourself. Celebrate that. Like, wow, I'm stretching my fear zones a little bit, because fear's never going to go away. It's just how we have courage about it. The fourth thing is Brené Brown. Learn how to rumble. Learn how to have difficult discussions, show up with full vulnerability, and be able to explore on an honest level what's going on, right? And you can watch her, you can read her books, you can watch her TED Talks, you can watch her videos, you can read her, she's got a Facebook, she's got a Netflix show, she's got all sorts of stuff. So pay attention to what Brené Brown's saying. She's pretty powerful. Number five, create ways to expand yourself. Monthly, weekly, daily, hourly. Expand your comfort zones. Try new foods. Get out in new neighborhoods. Meet new people. Join new groups. Go into therapy if you've never gone to therapy. Go get an astrology reading if you've never done that. Build your intuitive skills. So expand, 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 expand. Get bigger and bigger and bigger. Number six. Get used to letting things go. Start decluttering. Start taking things and going, this no longer serves me. I'm letting it go. I might be afraid that I'll never see it again, but we have to start letting it go. So get used to letting go of things. Old clothes, books, toys, furniture, houses, relationships, jobs. You know, a little bit at a time, and then you can get bigger and bigger. And of course, the one that I'm going to push on all the time right now is explore Chiron. Find out, get someone to read your astrology chart and find out more about Chiron. It's the wounded healer planet, and it is there going like, by the way, there's this one little wound that keeps coming up that is at the stem, at the core of all of your fears and everything that keeps you immobile and frozen. So if you want to find out what that's about, go play with Chiron. Go find out what your wound is. And dig in. Play with your courage. Take some chances and get out and make choices. Good choices, bad choices. Just start making choices, because I can guarantee that the other side of this is awesome. When you have courage, when you are fierce, and when you can show up and you can walk through things, life becomes a lot more interesting. And then we're the change makers because we're not afraid, right? So that's what we're going to do. So if this is something that you're interested in and something you would like some more information or some tools on, you can always find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com. I have over 100, almost 160 videos now, and you can drop me a message and we can talk. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a wonderful end of August, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.